within our foreign policy. As well, we have something that we call the Netherlands International Water Ambition, or the NIWA, which I think is a different abbreviation here in also water related. So that's quite good. And you promote that ambition. You can probably say a little bit more about that yourself. And you connect internationally. You travel a lot. Water diplomacy is what you like calling what you do. And you do that for the Netherlands in Europe. But as the Netherlands, we're also a kingdom. We have 3 other countries and 3 special municipalities located in the Caribbean Caribbean region of this world. So in a way, as a kingdom, we're also a small island state. And of course, similar to the Pacific region, the small island states of our kingdom know from lived experience, daily lived experience, how important water governance, climate adaptation, and resilience is. So those topics were a big part of the reason that you're here. But I leave it up to you in a little bit to say more about what you do, kind of what your impressions are, and also what you kind of hope to pick up here tonight in this very diverse group of people. And another important reason that I want to touch upon and why we're specifically in Christchurch as well this week is that about 15 minutes ago, 2 really big conferences wrapped up. It was the International Water Association Aspire 2025 conference, which is an Asia-Pacific focused international conference, as well as the annual Water New Zealand conference. And I'm very happy that we have most of the organizers actually in the room. Thank you for joining us. I can imagine you're quite happy to be at an event that you're not responsible for yourself. Backs up in a little bit. And I will soon also give Gillian Blythe, CEO of Water New Zealand, the floor to say a few words. Been an important partner of us as an embassy for a number of years. So there's a couple of reasons why we're here and why we've invited all of you. And this is just an informal networking event, and I really hope that all of you managed to make some meaningful connections tonight. So thanks again for coming, and a very warm welcome again to all of you. I'd like to give Martijn the floor first, and then Mike, and then Gillian. That's kind of.
And Gillian, you're allowed to take a drink, yeah?
Yeah.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Good evening, goede avond, for all of you who can understand Dutch. I'm really stoked to be here. It's been a long time that we've been planning coming to Christchurch. The Dutch Business Association's been in New Zealand for quite a long time, since 1993. Predominantly in Auckland, and the reason why it's Auckland is a bit of the nature of the beast. A lot of businesses are based in Auckland. However, we have a fantastic Dutch community here in Christchurch as well, and we'd really like to repeat events like we're doing this evening. So in order to do that, we really need the involvement from people here in Christchurch. So I'll give you a bit of a background about the Dutch Business Association. So predominantly we're a networking organization, but we also host business presentations. So there's various companies that present subjects in any sort of industry. We use those evenings to combine them with a networking function in order to connect professionals. And that is actually bi-directional. That can be Dutch people that have migrated to New Zealand. That could also be Kiwis that work for Dutch companies. They could be what do you call it? I've lost my flow. They could be children of Kiwi migrants that have settled here in New Zealand. And from that, we also have a bit of diplomacy, because we have connections with the embassy. We have connections with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. We also have connections with New Zealand Trade and Enterprise. And so we are becoming more and more of a gateway for Kiwis that want to do business in Europe, and European companies, Dutch companies that want to come to New Zealand. So the last few years, we've seen significant growth. We've seen interest in different cities also in New Zealand. And We are currently at a network where we've got about 500 people signed up to our list, and we have 12 corporate sponsors, and that amount is growing every month. And so I'm looking forward to meet you all, connect with you all, and try to build up the network here in Christchurch. Won't keep you any longer. On to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thanks very much. It's a real pleasure to be here with water people, Kiwi, Dutch people that I've already met today, a lot of new people, and I think it's great you're all here and we have some informal discussions. Maybe to follow up on what Caroline says, we have a water envoy in the Netherlands because we think that water connects between people, between countries, between different parts of society, and I have the pleasure of doing this internationally. No, my mission starts for those of you who haven't been in the Netherlands for some time. Internationally means nowadays beyond Brussels, because European policy is considered national policy nowadays. And we do that for a number of reasons. No, first of all, really because water connects, and it's really a part of our diplomacy. I sometimes half jokingly say the Chinese have panda diplomacy, we have water diplomacy. It's amazing this function. I was in Brazil not so long ago. Dutch embassy in Brazil actually has quite a lot of difficulty nowadays to kind of when they knock on the door of a ministry or something to actually get an appointment. When the Brazilians hear somebody talking about water, oh, the Dutch water. So that's very nice. But of course, it's also because we want to learn from other countries and share our knowledge. There's so many things. We have a lot of experience on things, but there's also with climate change, with different things, there's also new things like more intense rainfall. We even have things that we call droughts. Means it doesn't rain for 2 weeks in the Netherlands, no drought. But these kind of things that we want to learn from others for. And I think it's also important that our Dutch companies, our Dutch universities work overseas, and they can make a bit of money of this. But I think also what's really important for us is that actually by working overseas, these companies remain cutting edge, and actually their services become better and cheaper for our water boards, our municipalities, and our central government. So all of this is a reason why we work so much overseas, and we're happy to connect. So I'm here having discussions and seeing where are those connections. And I think this morning, for instance, we had a meeting with Canterbury University, and you're literally going, "What are you doing?" And I'm thinking, okay, who's going to do that, and how do we match that? And that's the kind of work that I do on a daily basis. Maybe just to give a little bit of a view of what Dutch water management does and is, we have a very long tradition of water management. And actually, for nearly 1,000 years, we fought against water. No, even when you think about art from the Netherlands, about the image of the Netherlands, you think about how the Dutch fought the sea, kept out the rivers. We have the big, you see some of them here. You see,
That was good time.
big great infrastructure. And I'm a water engineer by training. I studied in the 1990s, and that's still very much the tradition I was trained in. And it's actually interesting to see how we have a evolution or maybe even a revolution of how we think about water and how we now live with water and live with nature and work with nature. No, nature-based solutions, green green solutions, but also very much not only working within the water sector, but for instance, 3 years ago, our government made water and soil considerations leading principles in our spatial planning. Because we need to realize, and I think I heard that from a few Kiwis today as well, you need to realize not everything is possible everywhere anymore. You shouldn't build in floodplains. Probably never was a good idea, but with increased risk, certainly is. Putting a data center in a place where there's no water is probably also a very bad idea. So I think that kind of approach is really going from very narrow engineering solutions to green solutions to really thinking of spatial planning. And also wetland generations. No, in some ways, we for 800 years have tried, all we did was get the water out of the sea as soon as possible, canalize these rivers, get it out. Now we're giving room back, don't we? We're trying to retain. So it's a big change in how we approach it. And I think that's also, as we learn about that, how we make our cities more integrated water solutions. Those are the kind of things where we meet each other and where we see, of course, my trip in the Pacific and to Fiji, where climate change is so directly impacting people's life. Climate mitigation is CO2, climate adaptation is H2O. Ordinary people feel the effect of climate change through water because your home floods or your harvest fails, but also here in New Zealand. So I'm very happy to have all these contacts to see what's happening here. For me, it's always a little bit dazzling, kind of trying to figure out what's happening, who's doing what. But I'm very happy to work with our embassy. Those are people that stay here, that build on these contacts, and that see how we can work together. So thank you very much for being here this evening. I always say we talk about water, we drink something else. So happy to drink water, but we can talk about water. And you're also very happy to talk about something else. Maybe then you need to drink a glass of water. Thank you very much, and I hope to talk to some of you later.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. Ko Gillian Blythe Tokawingawa, ko Tumu Matua or Waiora Atara. So my name's Gillian Blythe. I'm the Chief Executive of Water New Zealand. So Water New Zealand, for those who don't know, some of my members are in the room, so thanks for being here. We are an industry association. We're the largest water association in New Zealand. We've got these days about 3,450 odd members from across the supply chain. And we are focused on promoting the sustainable management of the water environment with particular focus on drinking water, wastewater and stormwater. I joined the association 5 years ago. I think it's when I reflect on the conversations that I've had with the embassy over the last 5 years, I think it's quite ironic or quite sort of special, really, that I think my first water infrastructure awareness was when I was 9 years old and my parents took me to the Netherlands and I visited the Zuiderzee. And so I just think it's, I'm reflecting on it and just thinking there's been connections for a long time. And so one of the things that I've really enjoyed over the last 5 years is that I've had conversations with the embassy, and we've talked about how can we share international knowledge. We've had some keynote speakers. We've shared some articles in our journal, and I'm really looking forward for us to being able to continue doing exactly that. So talking to Micah this morning, is that fine today?
Don't ask me.
That is one of the opportunities for us to continue doing exactly that. And it would be wrong for me not to mention that the reason that I'm here in Christchurch today is because we've just finished the 10th IWA Aspire Water New Zealand conference. And I should really acknowledge my co-chair, Marion Saville, who's here. Give us a wave, Marion. And the two program committee co-chairs, so Robert Bosch and Joan Rose, and then also Daryl Day from Australia, who's also here, who's part of the organising committee. So it's great to be able to pause and enjoy. So yeah, really keen to keep our conversations going, to be able to leverage your knowledge, to be able to share some of our knowledge with the embassy and everybody. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Steph. Have you enjoyed it?